So this Camo box is completely covered in fabric. Watch this. So I went down to the arts and crafts store and I got Mod Podge. And I'm just gonna paint a bunch of Mod Podge on here so I can shoot this thing with a shotgun and get some sound holes in it. We are out in the woods and we are gonna blast holes in this thing with a shotgun. We've been practicing and we have been blowing things up, but we're gonna get real good before we do it on the real thing. All right, the practicing is over. This is the real deal here, people. Wish me luck. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, that sheetrock does good. I think that sheetrock works pretty good. Nice.
What do you think?
What do you think?
It's perfect.
I think it's awesome. Man, we did a doozy on that backboard, huh? This is just a sound hole.
These are look recoil. Ew.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. So here we are back in the workshop, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. Special shout out to Jim Dutro for the shotgun. He is my son's girlfriend's dad, so watch out boys, got lots of guns. Some of the target practice boxes are looking pretty sweet, so you never know, these might turn into future builds. But I wanted to show you what we got going on here. You can see the shot pattern has kind of embedded itself quite nicely around the edges of these sound holes. So that's going to look really nice here. The neck blank has been started and the box has been blocked and glued, and we are ready to get this party started. We've installed the frets and they've all been leveled and polished, and I also put some little screws. These are the same screws that we put on the back side here of these tuners, and the reason why I like these little screws here is because the little Phillips heads just sparkle in the light, kind of like a diamond. Yeah, and I also got an embedded piezo right here underneath the saddle, and if you notice here, here's the trough, and that is so that the cigar box top here does not come in contact, and it creates this nice separation between the neck and the box itself. If you want to see complete details on how to build these things, be sure to check out this video playlist right here. This is the 2020 Masterclass on everything that has to do with cigar box guitars. starting to look like a cigar box guitar. I did want you to see the inside here before I buttoned it all up. So the back has been screwed in place here through the blocks and into the neckwood. And all I got to do is solder up now and then bolt the top down, put a hinge on, a bridge, and then some strings. Before I button things up, I like to just double check here. So I'm plugged into the Roland Micro Cube, and volume's on 0, so I'll turn it up. So everything works like a charm. So now we got the strings on. Went with the rusty hinge and this little button here. Those are the buttons that come from the those hinge kits. Anyhow, here's something that's really important. So I opted for this type of a saddle, and I'm putting it in the right spot where it needs to be, tuning it up. And then I want to center these strings to the neck. Okay, and so this is how I do it. I put the center string on the center of this saddle, and then I determine. You can see here, this one here is this one on the bottom is still going to move back and forth. See, it's still going to move, but this one here is, because I already did it to this one. So I put with this little triangle file, I just eyeball it, and I move the string so that it's in alignment with the fretboard, and then give it a little. Just a little gouge, right? Just kind of a little V for this string to sit inside. And then what you can do now is you can actually move this thing around back and forth, and you can adjust the string to the fretboard. So I do this for both sides. So I'm going to do it now on this side, right? And that'll stop this thing from wiggling back and forth. It'll hold it in place, and I'll get it in perfect alignment. Does that make sense? Now that I got the grooves and the correct string spacing, now I can just move this thing back and forth and align the strings to the fretboard. So I am tuned up to E, B, E, and I do have the heavy strings on here. This is the 44 gauge, the 34 gauge, and the 26 gauge. So I do have the action set up actually just a little bit higher than normal. That means this gap right here between the string and the fretboard is a little higher than normal, and that has to do with the height of this thing here. So I can just sand the bottom of this thing down a little bit on the underside to lower the action to get it just a little bit better. But while the action is high, what I'm doing is I take an advantage, and I got one of these bearings. This thing is really heavy, oh my gosh. And I got a bunch of grease on the strings already from playing this thing here, but I should have wiped the grease off first. But this is what is so cool about these instruments, is that they are so inspiring, because you never know the stuff that you're gonna stumble upon. So check this out. I was just playing just my regular blues thing, and I thought, I wonder what those notes would sound like if I used the just intonation, right? And so I pulled out my template, and I found that if I use the just intonation is going to be these guys here. So on the middle string here, I would be using this 5/3 mark as my fret instead of the normal one. And then where this minor 7 is, it's a little bit off as well, right? So it's just a hair on the top side. So with the slide, I'm going to get to those notes here. So instead of getting those notes, I'm going to get, oh, hear how that one is just like in the pocket. But before I do anything else, I need to make a strap. So I found some of this gaff tape, and it's like I'm holding a snake here. I'm just going to like fold this over on itself and make a little strap. See how this works out. So I have competing camos. I have the browns and oranges and yellows, and this one, and then this one here is like rainforest. So the clash of the camos. So if you compare the notes from just intonation, you'll see that there's actually 2 minor thirds here instead of 1. One that's above the fret and one that's below the fret. So what I like to do is, here's the one that's above the fret. And here's the one that's below the fret. Oh my gosh, those are cool notes. And this is the bone slide. And then of course the major third. And you know the major third is down about a 1/4 inch from the fret. You got to use your ear and slide into it. And also, up here at the 10th fret, you're going to go the same thing. You're going to go down just a little bit from the fret. And then this fret here, you're going to go up just a little bit from the fret. So these are the little subtleties, but if you can just envision where those notes are in relationship to the frets, whenever you're doing your slide, I mean, you're going to get all those cool notes. All right, here's some upside down or some inverted chords. So I put my pinky here at the double dot and my index finger here in the center string on the 9th fret. Of course, the high string is open. And that's a root chord. And I'm going to take this chord here and slide it all the way down to the 5th and 2nd fret and maintain that high string open. But here's kind of the tricky part, is my index finger is going to shift up and down really fast on both positions. So up here, here, kind of a cool little trick.